Would it not be great if there was a clear pattern that told you if the market was going to make a new low? Well, I'm going to share one of the best pattern recognition techniques that's going to change the entire way you look at the crypto markets altogether. So if you like today's content, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. My name is Jagir. I'm the award-winning author of The Extraordinary New Venture Capital Opportunity, How to Invest Like a Pro, featured in the best-selling book, High Probability Trading Strategies, back in 2008, where I only used to focus on currencies, but now exclusive on cryptocurrency. So let's dive straight in. So we're going to use Solana as the example. I did a video on Solana around 5 days ago. I think it was July 7th, my mom's birthday. Solana is ready to crash below $20. The biggest reason to be bearish on Solana is in the coming weeks. Why? Is this particular pattern technique that I'm going to teach you today. It's called overlapping waves, right? These waves are overlapping each other, and it's a sign of something called a correction or a counter trend. And it's like the market has made a sprint, it runs out of breath, and it needs a breather, it needs a rest. And this is a pattern sequence of a rest. So this current chart on the video that we did on YouTube was on an hourly chart. I'm going to now dive into a daily chart where we're looking at the same information, but on a daily. The difference is on an hourly chart, you literally have 24 bars in a day. So this part of the market, and this is important to know, and I'm going to show you why. This part of the market on the hourly chart is represented by this over here. It pretty much overlaps over here, right? Hopefully that makes sense. If you're not used to looking at trading data, and then this overlapping sequence on the hourly chart, there's a lot of noise here, right? But this whole sequence here is represented by this over here, right? So it's exactly the same information, but it's just on a daily. And there's much less noise on a daily chart. So what's happened since we did that video? Well, we anticipated that it was going to move to the downside, but because of this overlapping pattern, right? And we want to be aware of that. And what's happened so far is we said it's going to crash, likely to crash to below $20. We're around 50% of the way there because we've had this big move to the downside. It went from around $40 to nearly $30, right? In just a matter of 5 days, right? So we're going to look at what's likely to occur next and why. Because what we want to understand is what drives the market is the emotions of fear and greed. It's like Solana is a person, and we're reading the psychological mood of everyone betting on the price. And Bitcoin's the same, Binance Coin's the same, and so on and so forth. But before we do, I want to invite you to something, if it's okay. I want to invite you to my R15 Crypto Gym, where we do daily workouts on Binance Coin. But now we've just launched the Solana workouts as well, where you'll be literally getting daily updates on what's happening, detailed entries. Students are making phenomenal profits, like initial profits on Binance Coin. We're shorting at the moment. They're shorting Solana as well, and we're managing it in a particular way. But some of the goodies you're going to get is you get access to the charts. So what we're using today at Solana, you'll get my entire chart layout and all the up-to-date analysis. So you have access to that, and you can put that into your own trading view. You'll get a 7-day bootcamp where you're going to get some key lessons on how to really leverage this information. And also you'll get an invite to my Telegram group where there's a phenomenal community, and it's £1 for 7 days, right? So you really get to experience my gym. If you like it, you stay. If you don't, you'll still get to keep some of these goodies. All right, so now let's just dive into a bit of detail with Solana, right? So I'm just going to zoom out over here. I just want to focus on a couple of things. So when you see the market move in a downward way, so we had this movement to the downside, a nice move to the downside, and then an overlapping movement to the upside. Like these price is overlapping, is going into the range, and then there was a big overlap. So this over here, there's something special about this, right? When we're looking at this overlap, and it's called an overbalance of price. Now this is crucial. So we're looking at pattern. Now sometimes people love Elliott waves, right? I personally love Elliott waves because I'm highly skilled at it. I've been doing it for over 15 years, and it's the best way by far to get a real macro and medium, intermediate, and micro viewpoint of what's likely to occur next, because we're measuring the psychological mood of the buying and selling behavior. And what we're looking at here is how are people feeling with a crowd herd psychology as a whole. And when we have bullish impulsive movements to the downside, bearish is impulsive is the word I was looking for, to the downside, but then we have a corrective structure like this. This tells us we're more than likely going to get a continuation of the former trend, which is this. And this is why we made this video where we said Solana is ready to crash below $20. And is it going to do it? Well, we can never say for certain, right? We can only do high probability trading, and that's what we're looking for over here. So what I'm going to do over here, I just want to zoom in like this. There's a couple of factors I want to take into account. So after a overlapping sequence like this, what you should anticipate is a continuation of the former trend, which means that it's likely that we're going to see these lows getting exceeded. The second tool, which we're going to finish on today as well, that I want to emphasize that you should really, really learn. I highly encourage it. You'll get it in the bootcamp, by the way. I think it's on day, let's have a look. I think on the bootcamp, where's the bootcamp? Here's the bootcamp. I think it's on day 3. I start to introduce you to Fibonacci. Yeah, welcome to Fibonacci. And you'll get some of my key foundation lessons on retracements, external retracements, and a few other factors. So what we're going to look at is, or what you want to understand is not the fundamentals that drive the price. And that I find people find hard to get their head around. Right? When I used to do Forex trading for over a decade, I had no opinion of the country or the fiat currency. I was just looking at the buying and selling behavior, and we can get high probability setups. And it's the same for crypto. In fact, more so, because the emotions are more raw, they're more on the surface. There's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and fear of missing out. And that amplifies this. And it means Elliott Waves works even better, even better. So what I'm going to do here is something called an external retracement. Right? It's a powerful tool, very powerful. And I've got a momentum indicator. I'm just going to move that for a second. We're going to measure this correction. We're going to take the low of this correction, and we're going to measure this high. And there's 2 key ratios that we want to be aware of. After a correction is made, whether it's an ABCDE or an ABC correction, an external retracement is 1.272 and 1.618. This is typically where the market will go more often than not as a continuation into this range. And you can see over here, it's $21 to $15 in Solana. So now you know the method behind my madness of saying we're likely to see Solana crash to below $20. It's totally based on this. And now we're seeing it unfold. We're seeing it unfold because what we anticipated was this blue arrow, this move to the downside. And we've got that initial move, right? We got this move. It's an overbalance of price, which is bigger than any previous move to the downside. That gives a big clue. We had another overlapping sequence over here, which is what we made that video on, the last video on. And now we seem to be having a continuation to the downside. And we anticipate that it's likely, not guaranteed, but likely to go into that $20 range. So how do we make money from this, right? Well, you can short the market using something called futures contracts or futures trading. And we want to use a few different factors. I won't go into too much detail, but I cover it in the daily workouts in the R15 Crypto Gym, where you can use these momentum indicators. You'll see these highs marry up nicely with these highs. And then when you got pattern, price, momentum, and time factors all coinciding, then there's a high probability short trade opportunity. If we get a nice pullback, there'll be another short trade opportunity. And that's what we really cover in the daily workouts. So if you fancy taking your trading to the next level, join me in the daily workouts with me as your elite crypto trainer with trading with the Binance coin and the Solana workouts. Now, Solana is going to be an additional fee. We're going to add it. But right now we're doing 2 for 1. We're literally giving both workouts for the same price. But you get to test it out for £1, 7 full days. You get a boot camp. You get my charts. You'll get access to my Telegram. There's so many bonuses. I'll spend probably half an hour going over them. But it's pretty cool. And we just go for high probability entry points. And we just ride them. Ride the trends. And the trend is your friend. Ride it until its end, until it reaches its bend. So if you like today's content, because it's about the pattern recognition of overlapping waves. When you see a market, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's Ethereum, whether it's BNB, whether it's a coin, top 100, even if it's outside of the top 100, it's the psychological mood. People are buying and selling this coin, and mostly based on speculation, based on betting on the price, on anticipation of it moving up and down. And when you have, even if it's a move up and it's aggressive and there's an overlapping sequence on the way down, that's what you call a corrective sequence. And what tends to follow is a continuation of the former trend. But the same is true for the downside. So what we saw with Solana was a nice move to the downside, and there was a corrective sequence. So it's like, okay, this is likely to continue to the downside because it's telling us there's not enough buying power and there's uncertainty in the market still with Solana. So more often than not, you'll see a continuation to the downside. So we can use this methodology in a mechanical, objective, non-emotional way. And when we see these high probability setups, we can just trade them with confidence in a fearless manner, but without being reckless. So you have like capital exposure. So you have risk management where you risk traditionally 1, 2, or 3% per trade. So let's finish today's video on a quote. Let's go with, I'm going to go with chapter 1 actually. I like chapter 1. Chapter 1 from my book. It's Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan, let's find it. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, we can learn valuable lessons, right? Valuable lessons from these guys that have been through the wars and have won championships. So Michael Jordan said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Now, in a nutshell, that is the art and science of trading successfully. We identify the shot, we take the shot, and we only need to be right 3, 4, 5 times out of 10. Because when we're right, we make a 3x, a 4x, a 5x, a 10x, a 20x risk reward. And when we're wrong, we either break even, make a small profit, or take a small loss of 2% or 3%. And that's how Michael Jordan won the championships with the Chicago Bulls. Got into a high probability position, whether it's a dunk, whether it's a layup, whether it's a three-pointer, whether it's, the techniques that they were using. But a 33% three-point shot range, scoring range is good. Actually, really good. If they're above 40%, if you're hitting 4 out of 10 three-pointers in a live game, that's regarded as elite when it comes to basketball. Because I had some of my staff members that were basketball players, played for England, and they told me, if someone's doing 3, 4 times out of 10 in basketball, well, the same is true for trading. If you're trading and finding high probability setups and you get to ride the trend for 3, 4, 5 out of 10, you are amongst the world's elite. No one is correct above, well, definitely not 10 out of 10. If you're claiming you're right 10 out of 10 times, it's just absurd. You only need to be right 3, 4, 5 times out of 10. And 3 is more than enough, because when you're right, you're making 3, 4, 5 times your risk. And when you're wrong, you're just risking the 1. So whether it's 2%, you lose. And if you can do that consistently with compounding, and if you have strategies, you can make some really, really good profits over time. So join me for tomorrow's workout. I've already uploaded today's workouts for Solana and BNB in the R15 Crypto Gym. Is in the description link below. £1, you get 7 days bootcamp, my charts, literally my live charts. As I update them, you get the live update, and you can update it and import it into your own trading view. So I'll see you for tomorrow's content, but hopefully for tomorrow's workout, because we got something really, really special planned, and we're keeping a close eye on these markets because there's some phenomenal shorting opportunities. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.